Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by MMA veteran Scott Smith. Scott, how are you?
Good, man. How's it going?
It's going good. Scott, you got a fight coming up August 3rd at WFC 6. Before we get to that fight, I've always wanted to ask you this question because, you're known for having some of the best comeback fights in the history of mixed martial arts. So I've always wanted to ask you, what's your favorite comeback? I mean, the top three that are up there are the Pete Sell fight, the Benji Radich fight, the Kung Lee fight. Those are the fights that everyone thinks of when they think of your comebacks. What's your favorite one?
Well, my favorite fight, just all-around fight, was the Pete Sell fight. That wasn't so much a comeback. I was hurt late in the fight, but that was my favorite fight because we beat the hell out of each other. I was actually winning the fight. He caught me with a big punch that came back. That was my favorite fight, but my favorite comeback would have to be Kung Lee just because I was getting my ass kicked so bad that it was kind of a nice comeback. Same thing with Benji. He was beating me down pretty good, but my favorite overall fight, Pete Sell, my favorite comeback would be Kung Lee.
Yeah, they're definitely all great. Ken Pavia, the famous MMA agent, he once said that his favorite comeback fight of yours was a fight against Justin Levens in the WEC. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up, and not as many people saw that, but it's kind of funny. I came out. That was the first time I've really been, caught in a fight like that. I came out and he caught me with a jab right to the jaw and dropped me, picked my back, almost got a choke. I'm on top of him, he's on top of me. Then we're standing up, and he's got back control. And I was able to swing around with the elbow and catch him and just knock him out cold. But yeah, that was a good comeback too. That was a back and forth fight for the couple minutes it was.
Yeah, definitely an all-time great. One fight that flies under the radar. That was a long-awaited fight because you were supposed to fight him in the finals of that tournament, but I don't remember what happened to him. But that was back in the old Wild West days of mixed martial arts because you ended up fighting Tate Fletcher, who kind of just came out of the crowd and took you on that night.
Yeah. He actually what happened. Levens beat Oliveira and hurt his shoulder in the process, so he couldn't continue into the finals.
Yeah, that's it. And that was a great fight between you and Levens. It was a long-awaited fight because, like I mentioned, you were supposed to fight him in the finals. And the opening exchange, it was a simultaneous exchange, and he was able to catch you, and then he immediately took your back, and then you were able to spin off and get on top. Then you guys exchanged leg locks, and then, like you mentioned, how you were able to finish it. You went down for like a standing Kimura against the fence, and you were able to catch him with that elbow. So just a great fight, one that doesn't really get that much credit because not a lot of people have seen that. Another question I wanted to ask you was, if you could get a rematch with anybody who has beaten you in the past, who would it be and why?
Rematch against anybody who's beat me. Now, I haven't really thought about that. A lot of people have asked me about a third match with Kung Lee, which I'd always be honored to fight Kung Lee. I don't think that fight makes sense for him, really. I can't really think. There's no guys I really dislike that much, so I just hate them and got to get in there and fight them. But, there's none of them that I wouldn't take a rematch against either. So, you know what I mean? There's nobody I'd really call out.
Definitely. I hear what you're saying.
Off the phone, I'm sure I'll think of somebody.
Sure. Now, Scott, you've been going through a lot of changes in your life. One of the major changes in your life is that you're now sober. You've been sober for how many days now?
149 days today.
Excellent. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Scott, how long was it that you had a drinking problem?
I'd say the last 3 years have been pretty much a hot mess. I started noticing maybe about 5 years ago, and it progressively got worse to where, honestly, the last at least year, I was drinking over a fifth of vodka a day.
Ooh.
And even to where my last fight, I didn't quit drinking until about 8 days before my fight, which usually I stop 8 weeks before. And I was going through withdrawals the week of the fight and didn't sleep a couple nights. That was pretty miserable, pretty crappy feeling. So that kind of tells you where my frame of mind was for my last few fights.
When did you realize that, hey, I can't go on this way. I got to find some help? How deep were you into this? Like, were you able to identify it yourself? Did friends and family, your trainers, sparring partners, who kind of, made you kind of realize that, hey, I need to get some help?
My family's been kind of, picking at me for, the last year or so, but they really kind of had an intervention, and it got a hold of me, and I kind of faked it for a little bit, and then after, faking it and, trying to get it under control, which that didn't work, that's when I really realized myself. That's what people say you got to do for yourself, because you really do got to be honest with yourself and do it for yourself, or it's not going to work. But, I didn't, fortunately, I never got, a DUI or arrested or any of that stuff, but it was to the point where alcohol was number one in my life. I'd go to my kid's baseball game, but it was like, when is this damn thing going to get over so I can get home and drink? That was my focus of everything. My family's all big drinkers. We'd go to their house, everybody'd be drinking. I didn't like drinking around them because they'd give me crap. So it was just, I couldn't wait to get out of there so I can go drink alone. And that's a pretty pathetic frame of mind to have, to want to get away from people so you can go drink alone. So it just became not fun for me anymore. It became a chore. I drank because I had to, not because I wanted to. My body needed it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what kind of treatment did you seek? Did you go to like a meeting like AA or rehab? What kind of treatment have you done to kind of help you with this issue?
I checked myself into a inpatient rehab. It's for multiple drugs, but the funny thing is, I've never even smoked pot in my life. I've never tried any drugs, but alcohol sure got a hold of me. But checked into New Dawn, and I stayed there for 15 days, live-in, and then I went to an outpatient program through New Dawn, which was Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock at night to 9 o'clock at night. So that was for like another 32 days. And to this day, I still go every Wednesday night to the alumni, or it's a New Dawn alumni group. And then I catch AA meetings when I have time and stuff like that. So I stay pretty active in my sobriety.
Mm-hmm. You haven't fought in a year. You haven't fought since March of 2012. Is this the reason what has caused this long layoff? You trying to get sober and get things back in order?
Yeah, absolutely. I even tried this before my last fight. It just didn't work. I've been fighting this for about a year and a half before I've actually wanted to get help. Mm-hmm. And I finally looked myself in the mirror, and I got to do it for me. So yeah, that's the reason why I haven't been training. When actually the day I started working out was the day I went into rehab. They let you go to the gym once a day. Mm-hmm. I hadn't touched the gym since my fight. I was 215 and just sloppy, out of shape, and I've gone to the gym almost every day for about 150 days straight now.
Mm-hmm. Now, there were rumors that started, I think it was last summer, that you were going to have a fight for Gladiator Challenge. You were supposed to fight, I think it was Marcus Gaines. Was that just a rumor, or were you actually signed to fight?
I was never signed to fight. Mm-hmm. It was something talked about. They were a little premature on announcing it, but I probably did make a pretty verbal commitment, so that is my fault. But that's another one of those things where, I commit to it 10 weeks before a fight, and I'm telling myself, okay, I'll get my crap together, and the next weekend, all the week, all of a sudden it's 4 weeks till the fight, and I'm a hot mess still. So that's part of the reason for the big layoff too.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're currently on a 4-fight losing streak. Has this, alcohol problem, has that contributed to these, losses, or has it just been whenever you fought there, it just hasn't been your night? What's caused this 4-fight losing streak?
I really haven't. I haven't trained. I just really didn't train right. I was training while I was drinking. Mm-hmm. It was that bad. I would show up to practice. I'd stop drinking for a couple hours, show up to practice. The whole gym would smell of alcohol. It could be sweating out of me. But yeah, that's kind of how my last few training camps have been.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said at the WFC 6 press conference that there was a point there where you kind of lost your love for fighting. You really weren't enjoying it. What happened there? Was it solely based on this alcohol addiction, or was there something else that was involved in, kind of losing that passion for fighting?
No, it was alcohol that training got in the way of my drinking. Like I said, alcohol was number one in my life. So if it affected my drinking, I didn't care for it. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of alcoholics are. It's number one, and for some people, number one over their kids and everything. And it's really a sad thing to deal with. But I hated training. I went to get what I thought was enough cardio in, and now I'm actually enjoying it. I'm sitting in front of my gym right now. I just finished a workout. I'm dead tired from working all day out in the heat, but that was the first place I wanted to go was to the gym. So I got my love back for it.
Now, during this time of not fighting from March until this fight that you're going to have coming up here on August 3rd, how were you able to pay your bills? You know, in this sport, if you don't fight, you don't get paid. So how were you able to support yourself and your family?
I got back into union ironwork, which I did for like 8 years before I stopped working to train full time. So I've been doing that for the last couple of years now. Even before my last fight, I kind of got back in to help my dad retire. He owned a company, and then after he retired, I actually went to work for one of his competitors, a friendly competitor of his, and I've been working for them. So yeah, I'm back in local 118 ironworkers, working hard every day.
Hands of Steel is back.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, during this time of trying to get things back in order, did you have thoughts about retiring from mixed martial arts?
Yeah, when I first started to get back into training, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. My body can't handle it. But my body was just so far gone out of shape that it couldn't handle it at the time. But I'm getting back to the point where I'm back to the point now where my body can handle it and I'm enjoying it. But I guess I didn't realize how far out of shape I had gotten, from the couple years of abuse.
From talking to you, it seems like, basically all your problems have been alcohol related. You mentioned that now the fire is back in you to want to compete again. You're having fun now in training. Was there anything else besides, getting sober that kind of relit the fire in you to want to continue to fight mixed martial arts?
I don't want to go out on the note I did. My last 4 fights, that wasn't me at all. I want to go out. I'm not saying this is my last fight. I'd like to put another good couple years in and get back to loving that adrenaline rush of walking in the cage and winning a fight. It's been a few years since I've won a fight, and I want to get back on that winning path, and, that's kind of stuff that drives me.
Usually we see when guys fall on hard times like you have with these, last 4 fights all being losses, and I believe 3 of them you were finished in those fights. They usually, try to distance themselves from where they usually train. They try to go somewhere else to get different looks and to try to get a different perspective. Was there ever a time where you thought, hey, I need to leave Elk Grove, I need to go somewhere else to live and somewhere else to train? Or was that really never an option for you because, you are back working and you are a family man, you can't really uproot your family to go someplace else? Was there ever a time where you thought, hey, maybe I need to leave?
No, it really wasn't an option. Uriah Faber's gym downtown is, the best gym around to train at. It's tough for me to get down there, because of family. And I got a great Muay Thai gym with great grappling. It's less than half mile from my house. There's great trainers and training partners all around me, and they were there for me and ready for me. I wasn't ready for them, and now that I'm ready for them, I'm improving as a fighter. I was barely getting by before I didn't want it. Now, now that I want it, they're willing to, still give it to me.
How long ago were you back ready to go to fight? How long has it been since you've felt like, hey, I'm ready for a fight? Obviously, you're going to be fighting August 3rd, but how long have you been in the right mindset to take a fight?
I took the fight. I found out a long time ago, and honestly, I didn't feel ready until about 6 weeks ago. I still kind of was mentally questioning if I was going to get to the point where I was able to do this. Until about 6 weeks ago, I finally started feeling like I used to. So, to be honest, about 6 weeks ago, I was still questioning myself.
Now, on August 3rd, you're going to be taking on Mark Matthews. What are your thoughts about him as an opponent?
It's a great fight for me. He's a great fighter. He's very well conditioned. He's got a really strong ground game, and he's a brawler. He's going to go out there and try to bang with me. He's very confident in his ground game, got a good ground game, and he can go 5-minute rounds. But he's a guy that I can go out there and put it on too. It's just a great fan friendly fight.
This fight is going to be for the WFC middleweight title. The last time you fought for a belt was back in 2008 when you fought Robbie Lawler for the second time. Are you happy to once again finally be fighting for a belt?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it feels good. It's an honor to be out there, especially in my home crowd, close to my hometown fighting. All my family and friends haven't got to go to many of my fights because I've been, San Jose's as close as I've been fighting lately. So, yeah, this is a big honor. It's a great card, and I'm, honored to be the headline of it.
Some people have referred to this fight as your comeback fight. Do you feel that this is a comeback?
Yeah, I do. It's a comeback. It's to show the new me, I guess, the new old me.
When I think of guys who have fallen on hard times, such as yourself, I think of guys like Andrei Arlovsky or Jens Pulver. Those guys have been trying to find a way back to being the guy that they once were. They were great at one point, and then they fell off and had some losses in a row, and now they're trying to search to get back to being the guy that they once were. Is that where you're at? Are you trying to be the guy that you once were, be the guy who was number one contender in Elite XC, a guy who was a contender in Strikeforce? Are you trying to be that guy, or are you trying to completely reinvent yourself and be better than you've ever been?
I'm just trying to get back out there and have fun fighting. I know I'm never going to be 21 again, and I feel I'm in better shape than I was when I was 21, but my body can't handle what it could when I was 21. I'm not trying to be the same fighter I was, and I've never said I'm going to be the UFC champ, or that's my only goal. I want to go out there. I want to excite the fans. That's what makes me happy, and that's what I want to do. And I want to do it in front of a good card, fighting for the belt like I am on August 3rd.
At age 34, do you feel that this is your last chance in the sport?
Yeah, I figure I got 2-3 years left, and I'll probably be done.
Obviously, you took this fight because you feel that this is a fight that you can win, but what happens if you don't get a win on August 3rd? Where do you go from here if you don't get the win? Because right now, you're currently on a 4-fight losing streak. If you lose here, that would make it 5 in a row. Do you feel that this is kind of do or die time for you? Do you feel that a loss here might be the end for you? Is that what we're looking at? A loss here and you might have to consider retirement? I mean, what are you looking at if you don't get a win here on August 3rd?
It's tough to say. It'd probably be hard to, get through my family to fight again. They've kind of pushed for me to just hang it up, and they see the abuse my body's taken. But I try to think on a positive note, and it's a fight. Things could happen. There is a chance I can lose the fight, but I don't plan on calling it quits anytime soon.
Now you're back fighting at middleweight. You had a brief stint, not your last fight against Lumumba Sayers. The fights before that against Tarek Safadine and Paul Daly were at welterweight. Are you done fighting at welterweight, or are you open to a return?
Absolutely. And sadly, I think part of it in the back of my mind was if I fight at 170s, I have to get in shape to make weight. So therefore, I kind of forced myself to, but I didn't get in shape in the right way. So, yeah, that wasn't a very good call. I figured if I'm 170, I have to be in shape, right? Well, no, that didn't work. I do got to say, I felt great for the Paul Daly fight, which that's disappointing that I got knocked out. I don't know if the weight cut had something to do with it, but my body felt great. I was strong. Tarek Safadine, I felt like crap, but yeah, the Paul Daly was pretty disappointing for me.
I'm sure you would have liked to have been more active from your last fight till now, but obviously you've had some personal issues to deal with. But has it maybe been a good thing that you've had this long layoff? Because usually when you're preparing for a fight, you usually don't have time to kind of get better and improve, add new skills, and kind of sharpen the skills that you already have. When you're preparing for fights, you usually just work on your cardio, try to get that ready, and you're trying to prepare for your opponent. But when you don't have fights, you can really focus on your technique more and try to get better. Was it maybe a good thing that you've had this long layoff?
Yeah, I've definitely improved. I'm clear-headed now, and when you want to be there, it's amazing how much you can learn when you're not just kind of forcing yourself to be there. So, yeah, I definitely feel more improved. My Muay Thai is probably what's improved the most.
Scott, what are some of your goals for the remainder of 2013, both inside and outside the cage?
It's to stay sober, to keep working on my sobriety. As far as fighting, I want to go out there and win this belt. I want to be a good face for Brandon and West Coast Fighting over there. I want to help him out, and keep promoting his fights. He's got a good thing going, and just be there for my kids. I got a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old boy, and just want to be there and am as involved in their life as I can. Time, I've always been there for them, but it's crazy how time flies, and I just don't want to look back in 5 years and wonder where all the time went. So I'm just trying to be involved in my kids' life.
Mm-hmm. Scott, how do you defeat Mark Matthews on August 3rd?
I defeat him by knockout. I've always said if it goes the distance, it's probably not good for me. So, best case scenario for me, I knock him out.
Mm-hmm. Scott, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
I just want to say thanks to the fans for sticking by me. Even though I've had some pretty bad performances lately, I still get a lot of love out there and people wanting to watch me fight, so I do appreciate that. And I owe it to the fans and myself to go out there and put on a good show August 3rd. And my sponsors sticking with me. Aqua Hydrates, a new sponsor of mine, really been helping me out. Elk Grove Muay Thai and D1 Sports Academy has really helped me out with my cardio. So I want to say thanks to all them.
Mm-hmm. Scott, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck August 3rd at WFC 6 against Mark Matthews.
Right on, man. Thanks a lot.